Alright, what's going on, world? It's another unpopular opinion. Back at it again. Alright. So, I had in mind about necessarily being versatile, I guess, a lot more than others. Because I find that amongst our black community, certain individuals, or I guess a certain small group within the black community, can't believe that you can be more than one thing. I always found that to be really, really stupid because amongst our race, we've necessarily been responsible for pretty much 80 to 90% of everything that is awesome or necessarily develop the world in a better way for future generations to come, and so on and so forth. I mean, we invented rock music, we invented writing, we invented mathematics, we invented science, and the list goes on. So, but I mean, I'm also talking about versatility, I guess, as far as personality is concerned, because I can pretty much use myself as an example because I've always been into more than just what I guess so-called people from the hood are into, I guess. I mean, for instance, I've been a diehard hip hop and R&B fan for years, but also I like rock music as well. But most people wouldn't know that because they're not in my car or listen to the type of music I like because it's not quote unquote, I guess, black enough, even though I think for most people, they just don't have that information to know that you're a lot more, I say, in depth with other things besides, I guess, whatever you see a black person do. Because the first person we all know who started rock and roll, the first people who were involved in rock and roll actually were black folks. If you know who Big Mama Thornton is, if you know who Little Richard Penniman is, or if you know who Chuck Berry is, then you would know that's actually the truth. But, I mean, we don't also have to stop there. I mean, we can start with anime, for example. I mean, I've been in anime for since I don't know what, but I guess certain individuals don't see it as quote unquote cool for the community or cool in, I guess, the nigga sense because, certain guys still have a nigga mentality that they haven't been able to break out of yet because they didn't necessarily investigate who they are or where they've been. And I'm a big believer in if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going, which is why I'm a big history buff as well. But yes, people, it is possible to be more than one fucking thing. It's like you can like bluegrass, and you could like Run DMC or NBA YoungBoy or whoever the fuck you like. I don't really give a shit, but you pretty much get my point. But yes, black folks have been involved in more than just necessarily gang activity or necessarily just not being of an ignorant nature. It's like we've literally done things that most people can't even comprehend because of the fact that there's a stigma now, where there's always been a stigma, but with the information age that we're in as of today, I mean, you can pretty much find out whatever our people have been involved in, whatever our ancestors have been involved in. I mean, that's why they invented Ancestry.com or they invented 23andMe just to find out necessarily where you actually come from. So there is no excuse actually for anybody not to know who they are. I mean, I'm actually on a path to doing that myself because I know that I am necessarily in search of to find out where I've been in a past life and necessarily where I could possibly be heading within the next few years or however long this lifetime I have on this planet. But I mean, what bugs me is the fact that when you're seen as just one thing or one entity, that people don't actually think that you could possibly be more, or maybe they just don't necessarily want to find out if they can be more or not, because maybe there's a mindset that they have to where they're stuck in a rut, I would guess, necessarily just stay stuck in a constant belief that maybe there is no other option for them, which is why I see certain people who have what I just spoke of earlier as a nigga mentality, because I think in their mind only certain options are available to them, instead of actually putting in the work to actually investigate in what could possibly work in their favor. Because I mean, if a certain person has a talent that they know is of good use to them, brings them happiness, makes them smile, and makes others smile, makes also others interested, why not investigate that and see if that could take you a little bit further? Because, for instance, me, at the age of 15, I figured out I was able to put words on paper down in a very exceptional way, and that's why necessarily in this current time, I'm actually working on trying to get an actual poetry book into existence, because I want to become a writer before I pass on, whatever that is. And I figured I had the balls enough to do it, so I did certain steps and figured out what to do to make sure that would happen. So for me, I know it's no excuse, because I know whenever I set my mind to something, I actually want to do it and will proceed to take the steps to make that thing come into fruition. But I don't know, certain people don't have that, I guess, drive or ambition about themselves, because either they're scared or necessarily they don't know what their options are, because they're stuck in, I guess, a nucleus of negative energy. I guess maybe they don't have anyone that believes in them, actually makes them see themselves as more than what they see in the mirror. Hey, I mean, it could be a multitude of reasons, but those are pretty basic reasons as far as reality is concerned. Or maybe they just have a defeatist attitude, what my mama used to always tell me when I used to talk badly about myself, because at one point I wasn't as confident as the individual you see in this video. But it took me years to get there, so don't be surprised as to figure out that yes, I was a very, very pessimistic person at that time, and a bit of a negative Nancy. So yeah, I ain't even gonna lie about that, because that was my personality at that time, because of the life I knew as of being seen as unworthy to some degree, because of certain individuals who were in my life at that time. But I try not to think on that, because I have to think of the present and what I can do to make my future better. Hopefully doing the same at both times. But the point of this video basically was to say that you are more than just one thing, and because someone views you as just more than one aspect or one entity, or however you want to distinguish yourself, don't let that stop you. Because I mean, as far as people concerned, we've been known to do many things all at once. And because honestly, in this day and age, you had to have more than one hustle anyway in order to make it. I know I do, and I know a few others who do the same as well. And I mean, actually, somewhat, this is kind of a hustle to a certain degree. I mean, when I started doing these videos, I was actually doing this out of boredom. Yeah, I wasn't actually thinking this would take some sort of effect, honestly. I mean, it hasn't really taken a big effect, but I mean, it's made somewhat of a difference, I guess, as far as how I see myself and how others see me. Because honestly, I don't know how I come off to certain people until they actually tell me. But I don't know, some of the feedback has been somewhat positive, so I guess maybe I'm seen as a positive individual. Maybe I'm seen negative to someone, but I wouldn't know who that was because they probably wouldn't even tell me. But I mean, I try to do my best to do the right thing. But yeah, I mean, I've obviously been getting certain other attention as well, but that's another video. But yes, versatility does exist within the community of Negroes if you actually know your history. I mean, especially if you've studied people like, what a good person to be, as an example. I don't know, it's just so many people I can think of. Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. Frederick Douglass is a perfect example of a person who's been versatile. I mean, the man had a newspaper. Man was an abolitionist. I mean, he was a person known very well in Congress, if I'm familiar with that. Don't quote me on that because I'm just spitballing off with facts I'm trying to remember. But yeah, he was definitely a good aspiration of what it was to be versatile. And of course, there was who else? All right. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get lost in thought when I think of certain people, but you basically get my point. Yeah, that yes, our folk have never been just limited to one degree of a person. When we've had many, many degrees. I mean, hell, you could look at the Moors for an example. Those actually was in control of a continent for over 700 years. Now, America is only maybe over 200 years at best. But you tell me any other people that have ever held a country for almost over 7 centuries. Can't tell me that's not versatile. Man. Especially at that time when Europe was in a very, very dark age, and the Moors actually introduced them to actually a lot more things than what they should have known, because that was actually what started their demise around 1400, I believe, 92, 93. Yeah, once again, don't quote me on that. I'm just spitballing off of what knowledge I'm aware of. Yeah, but they introduced them to writing, bathing, introduced them to mathematics. They started their first colleges there. Hell, they even introduced like actual clothes and certain cloths that we actually know and use today. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the point of this video is to let you know that whatever you like, whatever you are into, whatever, excuse me. Oh God, that was a long fucking burp. Damn. Yeah, sorry. That just kind of made me laugh a little bit. But whatever is personal to your actual identity, whatever brings you joy, whatever lets you cope with the world that you know as of now, just know that it's for you and for you only. And don't ever let anyone discourage you from being who you are and I guess vilifying you for things that interest you because it's something that gives you happiness or makes you feel content. Because I remember doing that at one point and it was never a good feeling. So basically the idea is to be true to yourself. But that's all I have for this video. So for those of you who watch this, like, comment, share as many times you want. I think I'm starting to make this a thing. So until next time, until you see this face again, peace.